and welcome to Hypothetically Intentional, where we ask the question, what if we set intentions with everything we do? I'm your host, Michelle Albers, and today I have Monica Fowler, co-owner of Studio 1108, with me today, and I'm very excited about where we're going to go in our discussion today. Welcome, Monica.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Great to have you here. Are you open to setting an intention for us on the mic today?
Absolutely.
All right,
Absolutely.
let's do it. What kind of intention do you have for us today?
I think that the most important is that for today, we just live in being in the moment and being able to find peace wherever we are.
Beautiful. Oh, that's a big ask these days sometimes.
It is. Yes,
But
it
a
is.
beautiful one. And to me, it offers hope. I don't know how the
Yes.
listeners feel about it, but to me, it's like, oh, yeah, maybe I haven't considered that lately. So it's just a lovely reminder to drop in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'm ridiculously excited to ask you about your trip to Japan because I met you. Well, I haven't even met you. This is the first time we're speaking, but you came to me recommended by Angelica, who was on the podcast a few weeks ago, and you were at her Japan. It wasn't called a retreat. What did she call it?
It was the pilgrimage.
Pilgrimage. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Where should we start with that?
There are so many places, but I think one of the best is that not a lot of people know and realize that Japan is where Reiki got its official start.
Yeah.
Although, energy work has been done since the beginning of time. Japan is kind of revered as the place that it was born through Usui.
Yeah.
And so we did his whole pilgrimage, his trip from Tiny Eye clear to Mount Kurama. We went to not only Mount Kurama, but to Hiezon, where he spent a lot of time, and then to his birthplace, and actually got to work with, I believe she's the great granddaughter of Doi Sensei, who learned directly from Usui. And I actually got to have her work on me, which was absolutely incredible.
That's amazing. Well, that kind of leads me to, because you mentioned Usui,
Mm-hmm.
Usui Reiki is often what they mean when they don't say what kind of Reiki. At least
Correct.
that's my understanding. It's like
Mm-hmm.
Dr.
Correct.
Mikao Usui is
Mm-hmm.
Usui Reiki, just Reiki in quotes. If
Mm-hmm.
somebody just says Reiki, likely it's that. But there's also many, many other kinds. There's Holy Fire, there's Karuna, there's now Dragon Fire, which is
Yes.
Angelica's. Would it be called lineage?
Yes.
I think it would be called lineage.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
can we break down maybe what the differences are? Because are you trained in Usui, Holy Fire, and Dragon Fire?
Just in Holy Fire and in Dragon Fire.
Okay. Okay. What are
Yes.
the differences? Can we talk about that?
Yes. Holy Fire Reiki is very, very subtle, but extremely powerful. And it actually goes along with the idea that instead of the energy being passed through the practitioner, it's actually that the practitioner is kind of a conduit, but there is a pillar of energy that comes through the practitioner as well as through the person receiving instead
Oh, the
of it
person receiving's energy is considered, I mean, I guess that's part of it in Usui too, but not in the way you're describing. You're saying the person
correct.
receiving is also like a channel or a conduit?
Correct.
Ah,
Correct. And so it's just being able to tap into that of that individual and allowing them to feel it. And so it's extremely powerful. I've had people who have experienced other lineages and then they experience Holy Fire and they have a totally different experience because they feel like they're not picking up on anybody else's energy. It's just their own and
mm.
between them and source.
Yeah,
And
that's interesting.
yeah.
That doesn't
And
feel
then
that different from Usui to me, in that Usui is that divine healing energy channeled
right.
through a practitioner, which in theory then, if the recipient is open to receiving it, would also amplify their own universal energy, right?
Correct.
Um,
Correct.
but it sounds like the way you access it or the intention of the practice is a little bit different.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. And
Okay.
and then Dragon Fire takes it even deeper into calling in the dragon energy to help amplify all of that healing and that intuition and the energy.
So Dragon Fire is connecting with the dragon spirit guides
Mm-hmm.
and then using
Yes.
that energy within the session as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So are there specific, this might be a dumb question, but like, are there specific and different dragon guides that you call on when you?
Every person has a dragon.
So it's your own
Mm-hmm.
personal spirit guide. Like everybody has a guardian angel, or everybody has,
Yes.
like, depending on
Yes.
belief systems and spirituality and all of that.
Yes.
Okay, so you're working with your own unique dragon guide.
Correct.
Oh, cool.
Correct.
And so then the person
Yes.
you're working with, I assume, also has their own dragon guide.
Yes.
They connect together then?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So, yeah, go
it's
ahead.
so powerful. It is incredibly powerful.
Yeah. I love that. I don't know. So like I'm trained in Usui Reiki and then Sekhmet, like Sekhem healing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm familiar with prayer, right? And so I just think it's fascinating how they all have their own unique feeling and energy and like the way we work with it and the intentions that maybe it's intentions that come in, right? I think we can be humanly intentional, but I think we can also be divinely guided intentional.
Absolutely.
Right? And so I just think it's kind of fascinating how we like work with it within the labels of the human system, right? How that shifts, how it comes in divinely, simply based on the lineages we're trained in and how we show up in the world within each practice and how they can all feel so different is I think that's magical.
I do too. And I heard it said that Reiki is prayer in action.
And
I love that.
Yeah. That's so cool. So can I ask, I mean, this might be personal and you don't have to answer if you don't want to, but you said you received from the great granddaughter of
from Doi Sensei's great granddaughter.
Yeah. How was that different? I imagine on a lot of levels, right? Some personal, some divine, but like would you mind kind of walking us through what that experience was like for you?
Sure. We had the unique opportunity to do a Reiki share with her and some of her students, as well as a group of students from the Netherlands and Italy.
Oh, cool.
And so I think we counted that there was like 19 different lineages of Reiki in that room, which in itself, the energy in that room was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And it, as we did the exercise to begin with, you could immediately feel the ramping up of the energy as we all connected. And then as we partnered off, she brought me over, and it's very common there to cover the person's head, like their eyes and their face, when you start, which is not something we typically do here in the West. Some lineages do, but that's not typical. But she did, and she did mostly cranial hand positions. And some of the hand positions that she did, I've never seen or had any experience with. And it was only maybe 15 minutes that she worked on me, and I felt more focused, more energized, and more connected and centered than I ever have in any other form. And it was just an incredibly special feeling.
That's amazing. The other thing I love about what you're saying is, for me personally, there's something about when you travel and then you have people from literally all over the world in the room
Mhm.
I don't know what it is that makes that energy different. Or maybe it's my energy that's different because I'm not home. So I'm not in any of my old routines or programming or conditioning or whatever.
Mhm.
Maybe that's, well, I imagine that's definitely part of it. But I
Right.
also think having people from all over the world in one room, there is something extra. It like amplifies things.
Mhm.
And then I think there's another layer to it. And I think maybe it's when we're ready. I don't know. Because I'm imagining this isn't the same experience for everyone. But I think when we're ready to be in a place where we can trust receiving from someone we've never met, because I
Mhm.
think that's really hard. I mean, I
Oh,
acknowledge that with
yes.
every client that comes through my doors and lands on my table. It's like, I acknowledge that you've never met me and we have to build trust first, no
Mhm.
matter what. Otherwise, it just doesn't go the same way. Um,
Right.
and there's something fascinating about being in a room with a bunch of people that you don't know and just
Mhm.
dropping into that trust place and then being work with each other. There's something about there's a big, huge shift that happens, at least in my experience. I just
Oh,
find
yeah.
just go, oh wow, I just dropped in and trusted, which is not, that didn't used to be how I showed up in the world, is to trust like that
Right.
so
Right.
quickly. And so
Right.
you just described an experience where there's people from all over the world, you know, and then you came together, practiced together, and for whatever reason, and I think it points to all the work that you've done to land you in that room, everyone in that room
Right.
has done a certain amount of work to get there.
Mhm.
And
Right.
then also just to be able to drop in and just to be in healing, to be in
Yes.
amplification, to be in reciprocity is such a beautiful thing. And I think it's life changing.
Oh,
I mean, was that your experience? I mean, I'm making it sound
absolutely.
super profound, but it is. It has been
Oh,
your experience.
yes. I think, one word that kept coming to me even there was surrender,
Yeah.
which is just, like you were saying, it's not something that we typically allow ourselves to do.
Yeah.
But when you come together with a group of people that are so like-minded, and like you said, everybody has done a certain amount of their own personal work and their own personal healing to be there, that surrender comes a little easier. But it just, like you said, it was life changing. It was, and this is very cheesy, but the one thing that keeps coming to mind is that I was changed for good.
Yeah, yeah.
Just like the lyrics of the song.
Yeah, I have goosebumps. It's like it might be cheesy, but it sounds true, you
But
know?
it's like, I was changed for the better. Um, because it was literally that soul spark of where you see that light in somebody else, and you know that as they share that light, it's going to make your light brighter, and then you can share with somebody else to make their light brighter.
Yeah. That sounds amazing. I think the other thing that I find really beautiful about the journey that you're describing is I think as humans, I find with myself and others that we struggle with the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you showed up in a room that was filled with unknowns. The people were unknown, the practice was unknown. You received 15 minutes from a complete unknown, like you may have known of, right? The
Right.
lineage or known of and have a reverence for, but that still doesn't change that like everything about it could have been a surprise and probably was.
Oh, yes. Well, and not to mention the language barrier.
Fair. Yes. Yeah.
That was even
Right.
a big one.
Which also points to, like, for me, I'm just like, well, that's just another example of living proof of energy speaks first before the
Absolutely.
words, you know?
Absolutely.
How cool. Okay,
Yes.
that just feels so beautiful and so amazing. Is there more about the trip that you want to share? It sounds like it was a magical pilgrimage and that the trip in and of itself, all parts of it were life-changing and for the better.
Absolutely. There's such a reverence. We got to go to Mount Kurama, and as we stopped at all of the places that Usui did on his pilgrimage, including eating at the ramen shop that he broke his fast at after he received Reiki.
Oh, wow.
Um, just the reverence and the feeling of sacredness that lots of times we feel that here in the US, but it's kind of like, oh, well, it's just that person did this. And so you have a small amount of reverence for it. But when you actually get to go into the, one of the temples that he prayed at, or that he meditated at, you walk by the waterfall that he sat under. We were up at the top of the mountain where when he was, this was February, so it was cold. And even when we were up there, it was not a warm day.
Yeah.
And he bathed in the water. And so it helped to make his story feel very real. And the sacrifice that he also put himself through and for the better good of his family and for him. And it just it brought a whole new understanding of, again, that word surrender. Because, also in our humanness, we try to control situations. We try to control, how we respond, how we react. Even we want to try to control the weather. And in that moment, being on that mountain, you realize truly that, we're all just one little individual piece. But if we can allow ourselves to surrender to the moment, to the time, to the energy, it amplifies this beautiful gift that is just like awe-inspiring. And it's something that you can't even really put into words.
Yeah.
And it's in modern day, like, we started in Kyoto and ended up we had to take a bullet train, which, travels at 300 miles an hour for an hour and a half to get to Tokyo. But he walked that.
Mm.
He did it with intention, and everything that he did was done intentionally. It was in the moment. It was not planning for what's going to happen even 5 minutes down the road. He was present in the moment. He allowed himself, which, then translated into our journey where we took time to look at the trees, to look at the flowers, to look at, even the weather that was happening around us. And even though there was many, 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 many people on the mountain, we felt alone, and not in a bad way.
Yeah.
And it was so incredible.
That's amazing.
And,
I love that.
and it just helped to recognize and to realize how important it is to live with intention.
Yeah. Yeah, it can change everything. That's for
Mm-hmm.
sure. I've witnessed it and experienced it myself personally over and over and over again. What a beautiful thing. So I'm finding myself curious about, okay, so you just went on like a huge pilgrimage and were initiated attuned into a new lineage,
Mm-hmm.
which is amazing. I'm curious about like what led you to Reiki in the first place? Like, where did you start? How did you get here? Is that an okay question?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I started my career as a massage therapist 25 years ago, and specialized in reflexology. And so my thumbs and my wrists after 20 years were like, you're not doing that anymore. And at that point, I went through a divorce. And so I left Wyoming, where I was born and raised, and came to Kansas with my boys. And at that point, was looking at a total career change. And so I worked in elder care for a long time and then in psychiatric residential, and realized that with physical health, there has to be mental health. And then COVID happened. And as COVID happened, I also started realizing that I myself was not okay. And found a technique called integrative processing. Got myself certified during COVID in that. And as I was still continuing to look at there has to be something else. There's something missing. A friend of mine said, hey, this lady, Angelica Roth, is coming to teach Reiki 1. Do you want to do it with me? I was like, sure. I'm like, and I was just going to do it as a side note. And I met Angelica, and that first night at class, I had a soul remembrance of I've always known this. This is just a refresher. I need to lean into this. And so as I did my journey all the way through master. And I think it was, oh my gosh, I think it was like the second or third time meeting with Angelica. She said, I see you with me on Mount Kurama in 2026 when I go. And I was like, oh, sure, whatever.
Good for
whatever.
you.
It's like, okay, whatever.
At least you think it's possible, right?
Yes.
Sometimes that's how those things feel.
And so I was like, okay, whatever. And then all of a sudden, as I continued through, I got to the second level of Holy Fire Reiki, and she's like, I'm telling you, I'm seeing you on Mount Kurama with me in 2026. And lo and behold, it happened. I just came back. And it was very cool. As she was planning the whole trip, she said, well, I'm going to introduce, and you guys will be the inaugural class of Dragon Fire. And so it was an honor and a privilege to be part of that. It is incredible, and just, amplifies that connection even deeper.
Yeah. So do you work with clients now?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I do.
And have you started infusing in or working with your Dragon Fire, or is that are you still like in integration mode? I don't know.
Still in integration because we just got home. Oh geez, what is today? Monday. We just got home Thursday evening, and so jet lag is still kind of moving through. But I did my first group sound bath back last night and was able to do one of the meditations with that, and it just felt incredible. And all of the participants were like, whoa, what was that? That was really cool.
That's awesome. I love it. So you've been practicing Reiki at Studio 11, is it 1108?
Yes.
For a while.
Yes. Yeah. 3 years.
Okay. And do you have any, totally honoring privacy and all that, I'm not asking for like details, but do you have any, I don't know, I feel like everyone has, and maybe this isn't a fair statement, but I feel like everyone has kind of a couple of those like highlighted moments where you just go, oh, you really can't make this stuff up. And like, I know without a doubt, I am exactly where I'm meant to be. And the quote unquote, I don't want to say right people, but like the people aligned and the people who are called to you are coming your way. Do you have like any profound moments in working with people? And I don't know, I think so many people, like for me, I had Reiki put in front of me a million times before I said, yeah, okay, fine, I'm listening. I resisted it for so long. And I just think sometimes it helps people to hear those stories of like the aha moments or the stuff you can't unsee, or just validation. Even like we as humans, I feel like we want it, whether we want to admit we want it or not, we do.
Oh yes. And I think one of the biggest things that even as I have done this is the little moments of I'll work with a client and we get done with the session and we do our little debrief afterwards. And one particular client, I ended up doing quite a bit of work around her throat chakra. And it just felt like she had this huge heaviness and just a lot of guardedness. And so I did a lot of work there, using symbols and everything. And we got done and she said, can I ask you a question? And I said, sure, whatever. And she said, why did you spend so much time on my throat chakra? And so I proceeded to tell her, well, it felt very heavy. It felt very guarded. Really like you were overly protective. And I said, but as it started to dissipate, I felt like you were safe. And she broke down in tears. And she said, I don't know how you knew that, but I just got out of the hospital from my domestic partner nearly killing me because he choked me to death.
Oh, wow.
And she said, but I do feel safe. And I've never felt safe in a massage. I always end up getting up halfway through, but I stayed. And that was the first time I'd ever worked with her. Didn't know her from Adam.
Yeah.
And, that was just one of those moments where, when you do pay attention, when you do listen and are really focused on working with your client and working with the energies that need to be either cleared or healed, something like that happens.
Yeah, those are the moments that are so powerful. And the other thing I heard in that, which might sound weird, but it's surrender. Because I think as
Mm-hmm.
a practitioner, sometimes we go, oh, I've spent too much time here. I've spent too much time here. They're expecting me to move. They're expecting me to move. And it's like, but you surrendered to what Reiki was showing you, what healing was showing you,
Mm-hmm.
what your client was showing you, or what the experience was. And then that moment was allowed to happen. That healing was allowed to happen. That safety
Yes.
was created. So that's beautiful. Thank you.
Yes.
That's just, those are the kind of stories that I think are so helpful because I think it's easy to say, no, I'm supposed to stay in the box, right? Like I'm
Right.
supposed to stick to the routine. I'm supposed to just be in Reiki. It's like, well, yes, yes. And that's exactly what that looks like. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we define be in Reiki as, well, this isn't the sequence I learned, or this isn't the way my teacher taught me, or this isn't the way I've ever done it before, or I've never spent so much time in one chakra. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think it's a beautiful example of being in surrender, but also just how the healing can work. And
Right.
but first step is like you have to get out of the way, so to speak, and your client has to get out of the way, so to
Mm-hmm.
speak, and has to, I don't know, but it's hard to have words around like what's actually happening in the experiences. But that was awesome. Thank you for sharing that. That's what I was.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. And I love seeing, even I've had big burly men come in, and they're like, well, my wife told me I should come try this. And so I'm here. And, and then they walk out and they're like, whoa, I don't know what you just did, but that was amazing. When can I come back?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just, I think that, there's a lot of preconceived emotions that they think they should have or they should react to. And I always tell people, there's no right or wrong way to experience this.
Yeah.
So don't think you've done it wrong or that you're going to do it wrong. And, just that little phrase though, too, helps them be like, oh, okay, whatever. And then they walk out and they're like, wow, that was incredible. What just happened?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a beautiful thing. I think, big, guarded, protected energy can turn into a soft, squishy teddy bear by the time you're done.
Absolutely.
No
Yes.
matter who it is. It's like that throat chakra was
Yes.
guarded and protected and hard and firm and like just, not really willing to soften or open up and
Hmm.
experience, right? Like when we guard and protect like that, we're just not allowing experience on some level. And then
Right.
to have a session and to turn into gush, so to speak, like, right? Just
Yeah.
this gooiness that is like a warm, soft cookie, or
Yes.
just like this cuddly teddy bear instead of, I mean, I think it's afraid. I think we guard and protect
Hmm.
when we're afraid. And to be able to feel safe and see what that experience feels like and to energetically know what it feels like. Some of us haven't, like, we don't know yet. It's like that was
Right.
my experience for a long time. I didn't know what it felt like to feel safe in the world. And I didn't even know
Hmm.
I didn't know it until it
Right.
was revealed to me or until I opened to it because I found a place that was safe. So,
Right.
it's such beautiful work. I do find energy work, energy healing, divine healing, no matter
Hmm.
which lineage you're in. I don't care which
Exactly.
lineage we're in. I think it's all powerful. I think it's all deep. And I think it's all, when done with intention and reverence, there's a sacredness that just like we're not controlling the weather, so to speak, right? We're just
Correct.
allowing the experience to be divinely guided
Hmm.
and that's just a whole different thing. So that's amazing. I'm curious about like where do you see yourself going from here specifically with the Dragon Fire Reiki? Like do the sessions look different from a time perspective, from a experiential perspective, or
Not really. I I think that, like as you evolve in whichever lineage you're, specifically trained in, each session is uniquely different.
Mhm.
You do different things, even though you have like a basis of
Yeah.
where you're at, but each session is different. This just adds another set of tools,
Yeah.
so that, with each individual client that comes in, you can assess, okay, maybe I need to pull in a little bit more of the dragon fire here, or maybe the dragon fire would be too intense, or just tailoring each session to that individual client's needs. Um, because like I don't use sound bowls on every client, but when the need is there, I do.
Yeah.
And I think that too, as Dragonfire evolves, like how Holy Fire has evolved, and some of the other lineages, I think that just being open to suiting the best for each and individual client is where it needs to be.
Yeah. That's beautiful. That's such an amazing intention right there, right? To show up in that space of, well, we'll see, which doesn't, I mean, it might sound flippant, but I don't mean it that way at all. I literally
No.
mean how you started this intention is to be present, to be in the moment. And, we're not even thinking 5 minutes ahead when we're in session. We're truly in a moment, navigating it as it is right here, right now. What's
Yes.
available right here, right now? And can we open to that exact alchemy, so to speak?
Absolutely, because I mean, I'm sure it's been the same with you. You walk in to work with a client, and you think you're going to head one direction, and you start, and it's like, oh, that's not where we need to go, and so you totally shift.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the session, you're like, wow, that's not at all what I thought was going to happen.
Right.
And then, but it happens the way it needs to happen.
Yeah. What I love about what you just said is so our training gives us the foundation, which gives us the ability to think forward about what we think might happen. Because what that does is it prepares our energy to be dropped into that moment of, okay, well, I have this foundation and this is what I feel like, or no, quote unquote, what might happen. But then there's that beautiful word, which I normally hate this word, or I used to, surrender. That
Right.
happens when the client walks in the door and it's like, okay, well, now I still have the foundation, but that preconceived assumption I was making
Mhm.
might be exactly spot on and it might be where you go, but it also might be completely not at all what to be expected. I learned that the hard way in my Thai massage practice. I'm sure you did being a body worker as well. It's
Mhm.
like somebody comes in and says they hurt in one location of their body, but it almost is never coming from there. The root is
Right.
somewhere else.
Right.
So it's like, and
Yeah.
being able to surrender and just let it show you, let it reveal is such a
Mhm.
beautiful thing. So I heard you say something about a sound healing that, so you do more than, and I'm not implying that one is less than or more than the other,
No,
but
no, no.
you do more than just like clients on a table,
Mhm.
Reiki sessions. Tell me more about
Correct.
the other things you do. I would love to hear
Yes.
about that.
Yes. I do group sound baths and individual sound baths as well, with crystal singing bowls, Tibetan singing bowls, gongs, chimes. And so I do that twice a week, for groups, and then individually as needed. I also, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, the IPT, the integrative processing, which is incredible because it's a little different form of energy work in that it combines guided imagery and pulling feelings out
Mm.
to remove energy stuck in the body around certain emotions. And so, and the three actually really complement each other in different ways. And I have just found that it's absolutely incredible to be able to offer all three.
Yeah, that's really cool. And to offer them together.
Hmm.
So does the IPT, right?
Uh-huh.
Is that kind of like does it look like a guided meditation almost when
Yes.
you're combining them together?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes. It's a
Yeah, that's really
guided
cool.
four-step meditation.
Oh, I could see where that would blend really well with Reiki and sound
Hmm.
healing.
It's incredible. And I have clients that do all three and have noticed quite noticeable changes and shifts.
That's so cool. I love that. So I don't know why I'm asking this question. It's just sort of coming in. I'm curious about aftercare after something like a sound bath, right? Because I mean, I've been in those rooms and I'm sensitive to
Right.
energy, and you get
Hmm.
in there and you're like higher than a kite, like just woo, having fun, and so much has moved. It's like, how do you address like that? Like how you're feeling right now, like how amplified you might get, or just open or energetically different, maybe.
Hmm.
And then recommend for aftercare as because I think as we're doing healing work, sometimes we don't talk about it on the mic. And for whatever
Right.
reason, today
Absolutely.
I'm called to have us talk about it on the mic.
And I'm so glad that you honored that, because I'm a firm believer in that. If something comes through, it needs to be said or
Yeah.
worked on. And each of my sessions, whether it's Reiki or IPT or sound, I always do a grounding and shielding with my clients.
Yeah.
And that helps a lot. And then I also tell people, especially after a sound bath, that it's important to remember that as your body integrates the vibration and the frequency, your body's going to do different things because when you have that frequency and vibration, it targets those red blood cells.
Mm.
And the red blood cells are where stored toxins, waste, and emotion hang out. The frequency and vibration allows oxygen and white blood cells to attach to it, and it's going to move it back through your filtration systems. First filtration system it hits is your tear ducts. And
Mm.
so I tell them, if you're teary, it's okay. That's your body saying, hey, I need to get rid of something. And it's not important to put a reason or a why is this happening to it. Just let it happen. I also tell them they're probably going to pee like crazy
Yeah.
because the next, filtration system is your kidneys. And so it just let it happen. Let your body get rid of it. And I also, I don't hide information either. I tell them, you're either going to sleep like a rock or you're going to have very lucid dreams. Both
Yeah.
are okay.
Yeah.
And some people, I tell them too, some people feel energetic but peaceful. Some people just feel nice and calm and relaxed. No, one is not more important than the other. It's just the way your body responds because of what's happening in your body and in your world that day.
Yeah.
And so I really believe in informing my participants and my clients, so that they do walk out feeling like, oh, okay, if this happens, I'm okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it builds an invitation to awareness as well,
Hmm.
right? It's like,
Absolutely.
hey, to be a little bit more aware, to have a little bit more observation qualities and intentions in your day
Hmm.
over the next several days is a beautiful thing you can offer yourself. And to like, if you can see it, witness it without that judgment or without that
Hmm.
like worry that it's wrong or that like,
Right.
what's this all about? It doesn't have to have a meaning, and it might have a meaning, and both
Right.
are okay.
Yes. And
Um,
I do also give them my phone number, and my email, and I say, if you have questions, feel free to reach out.
I love that. I do that too because I think I always like make it clear at some point in my classes like this is not like peace out, one and done, doors
Yes.
slamming on your way out. I'm like
Exactly.
I understand how energy works, and I just want you to know that like there's some follow-up needed with a question, whether it be a text, a voicemail, a phone call, or a email, like my door is open. Like obviously if we're
Exactly.
stepping into a whole nother healing session, that's a different thing. But like no one has ever quote unquote abused that offering. It's like, look, if
Right.
something moves and you need support, that's what I'm here for. I'm not a
Yes.
person who like offers this big huge thing. And I just love that you said the exact same thing. It's like I offered a big, huge sound healing. We moved a lot of things. If you have follow up that is needed, call me, text
Hmm.
me, email me,
Yes.
whatever it is. Contact me, basically, however that works for
Hmm.
you, right? There's Messenger, there's social media, there's a million ways to contact us. But I
Yeah.
just think that support is so important. And I think sometimes it gets confusing because if you've never done it before, or sometimes it's like, well, it always happens to me this way. But then there's that one class for whatever reason
Yeah.
it decides to show up in a completely different way and you're like dumbfounded like what just happened. I feel so
Yes.
off, and I say off not meaning in a bad way but just off as in indifferent, and now I feel
Hmm.
surprised, and I've never navigated it this way before, so I
Correct.
might need a little additional support. And I just think that's such a beautiful thing. And the grounding and protection too, is there like a piece of what you do? I don't know why we're going down this road, by the way. It's just this is where they're taking us.
Yep. Yep. That's okay.
um, that teaches them how to ground and protect as well, like to do the protective shield, or is it
Hmm.
more like I'm in the room and I know I'm going to receive that and I just trust that and that's it? Or do you explore kind of different ways to do that?
Both.
Yeah,
Both.
yeah,
Because some people really can understand and grasp, being shown. Some people would much rather just have the knowledge of, hey, I know that's what you're going to do at the end, and I trust that, and it's going to be great.
yeah. I think the other thing is words like grounding and protection. I don't know. I feel like sometimes they get used so much that, like, I mean, I think we have to use them. I don't know how else you
Right.
say it, but I think they get used so much that well, two parts. I think they lose their meaning, but I think they get
Mhm.
overcomplicated as well. Like, you can
Exactly.
literally dance to music with the intention of grounding, releasing, and protecting, and that's all you have to do. Like
Correct.
it doesn't have to be this big like, and I get as an instructor you do it in a different way with all of your tools that might have a little more energy work specific
Right.
like basis to it, right? There's tools and wisdom within that too. But just on a personal like I'm a student in this class level, we don't have to overcomplicate it, and I think we do. I think because
Exactly.
that fear comes in. I don't know,
Hmm.
maybe it's not always fear, but I just think this like I trust my teacher but I don't trust myself kind of a feeling.
Exactly. Well, and I think, and one of the easiest things too that I tell a lot of people, they're like, well, I just don't feel like I'm in my body. Okay, go stick your hands in dirt.
Yeah.
And they look at me like, are you serious? I'm like, yes, yes, go stick your hands in dirt. And then they're like, whoa, I have never felt so calm after I did that.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
yes, that,
Yeah.
but like you said, I think sometimes people feel like they have to overcomplicate it or they have to do some huge grand gesture to do it. And it's no, not really.
I think the other expectation that comes in for people is they expect to feel different. And you don't
Right.
always feel different when it's done.
Exactly.
Sometimes you feel just the same. Uh,
Hmm.
and what's the difference? What is that? Is it faith? Is it surrender? Is it, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yes.
what is it? It's like, I don't know how your guides work, but for me, they change how they give me information, how I feel
Hmm.
information, how I know like it
Right.
changes. Just when I think I'm settled in, I'm like, oh, I got it. This is my way. They're showing me my way. They're like, oh, you've evolved from that way. Now we're going to do it a new,
Yes.
different way.
Yes. 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 And I agree. And that's the other thing is a lot of times people think, oh, it's just one way. It's going to be that way forever. And, you know, getting that concept of evolution
Yeah.
and being open to the evolution, sometimes it's hard to convey that.
Yeah.
But if you can still meet your client where they're at and help them to see that, oh yeah, that may have worked yesterday,
Yeah.
but
Sometimes it is exactly that. Yeah.
yeah, but today that's not going
Yeah.
to work.
Oh, that's amazing. So do you teach Reiki as well, or are you
Not yet, but I
not yet?
am working on my hours for that. And so hopefully that's my next step.
Yeah, and it wasn't like a expected answer of a yes. I was just curious. Not everyone even wants to teach. I just was curious if you did, or if you were on that journey, or kind of where you're landing. It sounds like you have a really grounded, established practice that fills your soul and is
Yes.
part of your purpose, and that's a beautiful thing.
Yes. But I'm also a firm believer that I think everybody should know energy healing. And
Yeah,
so I want to share it with other people.
yeah, beautiful. I love it. Are there any other experiences from your trip that you want to share?
Oh my gosh, there's so many, but I
I
think,
figured.
you know, it, I think just the ability to experience the spaces that Reiki is held so so dearly and so reverently, and to see the origins, with the Buddhist, because we got to have blessings with Buddhist priests as well as with Shinto priests, and feeling the connection of that, just, I mean, it expanded my own belief and my own knowledge in a way that I didn't even think was possible.
Mm,
And to see that so many people in one area have that same belief
mm.
is extremely heartwarming.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's awesome. I feel like this is a good place to wrap up. Is there
Mhm.
anything else that you want to share? It can be about anything, but I'm thinking specifically about energy work and Holy Fire and Dragon Fire, or even just how you practice, like how you show up in your purpose, that you feel like would just be a helpful way to close up for our listeners.
I think, like you had mentioned earlier, a lot of times it's that fear of the unknown that keep people from even trying energy work. And for me, one of the things, especially because I'm in Kansas, where and I don't want to get political or anything like that, but there's a huge Catholic base here. And a lot of people really are like, oh my gosh, that's going to go against my religion.
Mm,
And one thing that I do tell people is that, I don't ever want to step on your own beliefs. And I don't ever want to coerce you or make you feel like I'm coercing you. But just know that Reiki is connecting to, whether you believe it's God, universal energy, whatever, it's connecting to that so that you yourself can allow those healing centers in your body to begin to work and function in the way that is best for you.
yeah.
And when they hear that, that kind of helps to open them up a little more and maybe push that fear out of the way.
Yeah.
And, then when they come in for a session, I always ask, would you prefer I use God language or universal language?
Yeah.
And allowing them and meeting them where they feel comfortable.
Yeah. I love that so much because what I heard and what you said is, I mean, if we're talking about the power of intention, you as a client, like you're direct dialing your divine source, whatever that
Mm-hmm.
looks like. Like I'm not controlling that. You're
Right.
controlling that. So
Right.
it is
Absolutely.
truly your divine connection, your divine choice, your divine access. Because if you don't believe in it, you're not going to access it,
Right.
And so
Right.
that's a beautiful, the way you put that was beautiful. So thank you for that. I really
Thank you.
appreciate that. Okay, so how do people find you? I'll put it in the show notes as well, but I want just verbally, like if people are listening only and aren't in a place where, they can read the
Mhm.
show notes, how do they find you or get access to you?
Absolutely. You can go to www.lifeshealingjourney.com, or you can text me directly, which is 785-608-3000. I try to make it super easy for everybody.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you do online appointments? I didn't ask that earlier.
Yes, I do.
Okay,
Yes, I
perfect.
do.
Beautiful. Thank you so
Yes.
much. It was lovely today, Monica. I appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
We'll talk again soon.
Sounds great. Thank you, Michelle.